Bloomberg Business Week. We're live at Bloomberg Invest in downtown Manhattan. And what's interesting about Bloomberg Invest is that you end up getting to hear from people from all of the investment world, really just different types of investing, different types of investing platforms. And that really brings us to our next guest. And she happens to be one of Bloomberg Business Week's ones to watch. These are the investors, money managers, executives, and strategists who are shaping the future of finance.
We're talking about Alyse Killeen, who founded the venture capital firm Stillmark 5 years ago, offering up both institutional venture capital knowledge and expertise in Bitcoin. Alyse joins us for more on her journey and today's landscape here at Bloomberg Invest. Alyse, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. Before we get into what you guys are doing, I just got to get your comments on what we heard from SEC Chair Gary Gensler. I don't know if you were in there listening.
Of course.
Okay, because he spoke a little earlier, and he declined to give a timeline for launching Spot Ether ETF, but did say that it's going smoothly, and he said there's also significant non-compliance when it comes to crypto. How do you take his comments?
So Gensler has been very consistent in the guidance that he's provided to the crypto and Bitcoin ecosystems. And I thought that his comments today were consistent with comments of the past. We know that many operators in the crypto sphere are operating in a non-compliant way. Stillmark, of course, is focused on the Bitcoin landscape, so that falls outside of our mandate, though we're tracking it nonetheless. On the ETF side, of course, while we expect, and it seems Gary Gensler also expects, for an Ethereum spot ETF to be live this year, what we've seen in other markets, for example, in Hong Kong, where the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETH ETF, spot ETFs launched on the same day, we saw much more modest activity around the spot ETH ETF relative to Bitcoin. In Hong Kong, we saw about 14% of the activity and assets go to Ethereum, and the rest of that balance go to Bitcoin.
You know, if you could talk to Chair Gensler right now, what would you ask him, or what would you want to discuss with him?
I think where we're curious how he will move forward is around issues related to money transmission and how that relates to Bitcoin's payment network, the Lightning Network.
Right.
We are interested and hopeful that those at the SEC will take a researched and studied approach to how they will designate money transmitters in the field, so that they are precise and discrete in those definitions, rather than taking a broad swipe at defining actors as money transmitters where they wouldn't properly otherwise be.
You're making investments in that area.
Of course, yes.
Is that where, when you look at the VC landscape, or what you guys are involved in, is that where a lot of the money's going, and the opportunistic aspect of the crypto world, or Bitcoin specifically?
So in Bitcoin, about half of our current investments is in the payment space.
Right.
We've invested heavily in Lightning Network infrastructure. So both at the core protocol level, in companies that are developing sort of the AWS model to the payments network, and then in data companies that provide compliance, so KYC, AML services for payments on Lightning, as well as routing across this payment channel network. So while that's an opportunity, there's a breadth of opportunities in the Bitcoin private market space. We invest in payments, of course, but we've also invested in opportunities around Bitcoin as an asset, and have been really excited to see that ecosystem so quickly mature, including upon the tailwinds of the robustness of activity for the Bitcoin ETF.
Talk a little bit about the opportunity you see when it comes to the payments network and Lightning specifically here, because I'm curious about the way that people buy Bitcoin right now, and sort of how you think about somebody who is quote unquote investing in Bitcoin.
Sure.
Because it seems like still it's looked at as something that will increase in value, and it's the type of thing that will go up in value to a lot of the bulls out there.
Yes.
I don't think it's widely seen yet as something to be used to transact.
Yes, that's changing. So we know that over the 24-month period between 2021 and 2023, ending August 2023, there was a 1,200% growth in Bitcoin's payment network. We know that about 700,000 monthly active users are leveraging the network. and they're using it to make payments that average $12 per transaction. So payments that are most efficient, cost-effective on the Lightning Network versus traditional financial networks. Now, something relevant to today's...
Which is small payments?
Exactly.
Okay.
50% of payments on the Lightning Network are micro payments, in fact. So they're transacting at pennies, quarters, 50 cents.
Mostly we don't know where they are, or do we know where they're happening?
We do know where they're happening. So there's a lot of Lightning Network adoption in emerging markets, as you've begun to say. But we're also seeing payments in gaming, and we will see payments in the AI and LLM space. That's been relevant to today's conversations across money managers. On stage, we've heard a lot about the most important investment opportunities of the next 10 years being the energy transition and LLM and AI infrastructure. In AI and LLM infrastructure, you have to be thinking about the proper payment partner to the new capabilities introduced by this emerging field.
It's such a volatile currency, though, in the sense that, up 4% today, but could be down, 20% from just recent highs as of yesterday. Does that hold it back as something to be used for payments?
Well, so for payments, and especially if we're talking about microtransactions, we're talking about short duration hold. We're really talking about using Bitcoin as an infrastructure rather than as an asset.
So you're not holding it for long, you're converting it to fiat currency very quickly?
That's exactly right. But there's something else happening in Lightning beyond its match to AI and LLM activity, and that is that stable coins are coming to Lightning Network. So as soon as the end of this year, you'll be able not just to transact Bitcoin, but to transact digital dollars on Lightning. And that solves the pain point that you addressed of Bitcoin's volatility, which is relevant to certain populations for sure.
Alyse, just got about a minute left. What does a mature Bitcoin payment world look like, in your view?
A mature Bitcoin payment world looks like reliable payments that can meet Visa's threshold of 99.99% payment reliability. It looks like businesses and enterprise being able to operate payments in a compliant way that's consistent with their existing payment operations. And we're seeing the ecosystem develop to introduce enterprise tools that allow that, including through portfolio companies of ours, such as Amboss Technologies.
When does it happen?
It's happening now.
But in a real wide mass adoption.
I see. So first movers have adopted Lightning for payments.
Right.
Those with the most acute pain points, like those sending cross-border payments, have begun to adopt. And from the learnings of those pilots and early movements, we will see other businesses follow that are seeking more efficient and cheaper payments.
Very cool stuff. Really fascinating. Thank you so much. We totally get why you are one of the ones to watch by Bloomberg Business Week. Alyse Killeen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. She's founding partner at Stillmark here at Bloomberg Invest.
About 10 minutes to go until the close of